This has been a pretty bad year for Star Wars as a brand. I really don't know if this franchise can bounce back to what it used to be. I think the real test for Star Wars is going to be Mandalorian Season 3. Because that show is the one bright spot that Lucasfilm Disney has really had with Star Wars. Now, they potentially had one with Andor. You got everybody praising it. Why Andor is one of the best shows of 2022. This is from CNET. It's so good, and you should watch it. You got the media out here practically begging people to watch this show. Nobody watched it. A lot of the fans have walked away. That audience that they tried so hard to push away, well, they were successful at it. Unfortunately, the new audience just isn't quite as big as the one they pushed away. And because of that, none of them came back for Andor, even though apparently this is the show that they claim we were asking for. I don't know. I've walked away from watching Star Wars. I'm just done with it. I'm tired of it. Tired of how they treat us. I'm tired of what they give us. I don't really need it. I mean, I have the original trilogy. I can always watch that. I don't really need anything else. So a lot of people have just tuned out, and that's the big topic of the media. Here's from the Times. Andor is the best Star Wars show yet. Why does it feel like no one's watching? Andor is better than The Mandalorian, but no one is watching it. Media wonders why no one is watching Star Wars Andor on Disney+. Andor is what you wanted from Star Wars, so why aren't you watching it? Why aren't more Star Wars fans talking about Andor? Andor is peak Star Wars we had in years, but nobody's watching. Which leads us to this. From Bounding into Comics, alleged Star Wars toy insider claims Baby Yoda sales in decline. Star Wars merchandise no longer considered cream of the crop. This is what happens when you destroy your brand. You lose merchandise sales, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but merchandise sales are very big. A lot of the profits don't come from shows themselves because of piracy. This is how the Japanese markets have kind of counteracted piracy because manga and anime are heavily pirated. So to counteract that, they push a lot of the slack on sales for merch. Merch is actually very important. Now, when it comes to Star Wars, merchandise used to be king. They used to make tons of money on merch. I remember days when you go to a toy aisle and it was almost all Star Wars. Now, I challenge you, go into a local Walmart and look and see how much of the toy aisle is dedicated to Star Wars. And also, while you're there, take note to the fact that the toy aisle no longer seems to be geared towards kids. If you look through the toy aisle, it seems like it's geared towards people yours and my ages, people that have nostalgia and want to buy stuff like X-Men toys and Spider-Man toys. It all looks like they're made for adults. Like, I'm walking down the toy aisle and they have like real Ghostbusters toys. Who do you think that's for? That's for people that grew up watching that show. And no kids interested in the real Ghostbusters toys. That's just not a thing. It feels like they're trying to sell this to adults. They're trying to sell toys to adults now because kids are playing like Fortnite and all this other stuff. Like, I don't know if toys are really a big thing anymore, but even just merch. Now, Baby Yoda managed to bring a lot of that Star Wars merch back up. Those toys were huge. There was huge demand for Baby Yoda toys. I know that's not his real name, but that's what everybody was calling him. His name is Grogu. He'll forever be Baby Yoda to me, though. It was in a hot spot, and it really showed you like what Star Wars popularity could be, but it's died off. And I don't know if it's going to come back. I mean, look at what's going on with Andor. Andor is supposed to be peak Star Wars. Nobody watched it. Are they going to come back? Are they going to come back for season 3 Mandalorian, and will that boost toy sales back up? I don't know. We'll see. But apparently, toy sales are dying, and that really is an indicator for where the franchise is at, because the merchandise, it needs to sell. I mean, why do you think you see Spider-Man on everything? It's because his merchandise sells. That character sells shit. So, WDW posted on Twitter, Baby Yoda merch in trouble. Grogu's demand going down. Prepare for a very deep dive into the toy industry from a highly placed exec and a major partner from Disney. Some news sources give you vague predictions. This is not that. And he had a whole conversation with Valiant Renegade, which is a really good channel. Highly recommend it. I do believe there's weight to this, that the sales are down, because you can see it right here. Star Wars The Black Series, Reva, the third sister Force FX Elite lightsaber. If you remember, that was a fun time too, because it was fun to laugh at this, because it was an expensive toy, but they had to sell 5,000 of these to even get it out. But it didn't do that. And it wasn't the price, because all you had to do is go look at their Cobra gunship or whatever it was. It was another toy that needed a certain target number to be made and sold. And it hit it in spades, thousands sold. And it was way more expensive than this lightsaber. So like, the people have money, but they've lost. That's one thing that they've lost. People, the whales of the toy sales, like the people that spend big money, like they've turned their back on Star Wars, it would seem. Like they would have backed this if they were still there. Nobody's interested in these new characters. That Obi-Wan show, I think, did more damage than people think, because that show, you think people would have transitioned from that show to Andor, and they didn't. They're in a lot of trouble once they start moving towards these original characters. But this is by far the most successful original character they've had, and it seems that his merchandise sales have fallen off a cliff. And that's bad news for Lucasfilm, because Disney spent a lot of money on Lucasfilm, and I just don't see that investment paying off now. And they only have themselves to blame. They've ran themselves into the ground. So, this is what you get. Keep Kathleen Kennedy on. That's perfect. Let her run Indiana Jones into the ground next. I'm all for it, because I still have the original Indiana Jones trilogy, and there is only 3 movies. The fourth one, I don't know about that one. I like to pretend it doesn't exist, just like I'll do with the 5th one. But Baby Yoda sales in the toilet, just showing how much of this franchise is in a decline. And if Disney isn't careful, Marvel will be next. Then what are they going to do? Because Mickey don't sell no more. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Check out my Rumble and my Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.